Hi there! Thank you so much for joining me tonight. This is Julie DiMatteo from thepaperpixie.com, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And in tonight's Facebook Live tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this awesome faceted gift box. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so here is our awesome faceted gift box. I've got a magnetic closure on the top of it. Okay. And it is full of Hershey's Kisses. So this is a fabulous box to fill with treats or even a special gift. And I love this. Okay, wait for it. Magnetic closure. I'm going to show you a couple tricks to hide those magnets. So super, super fun. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We are going to start with a piece of that Year of Cheer Specialty Designer Series paper, one of my favorite papers from the holiday catalog. All of these measurements will be on my detailed blog post, which I will link to this video. So don't worry about writing down the measurements. But on the 5-inch side, we're going to go ahead and score at 1 1/4. I'm actually going to flip it for the second one because I want the score to be on the back. 2 1/2. And that is not totally necessary, but I kind of prefer the way it folds if you flip it to the back side. And then 3 3/4. Okay, so again, 1 1/4, 2 1/2, 3 3/4, all the way down. Then you're going to rotate it to the long side, the 8 1/2-inch side. And you're actually going to score, and I'll show you a template in just a moment, but we're going to score at 2, 4, 6, and 8. But at 2, 4, and 6, we're only scoring down to that horizontal score line. So let me bring in that template for you. Okay, so 2, 4, and 6, we're scoring down to that first horizontal score line. And then at 8, you're actually going to score all the way down. Okay, let's do that real quick. So 2, stopping at that score line, 4, 6, and then 8 will go all the way down. And now to make it easy, just go ahead and flip your cardstock and we'll score this back side the same way. So 2 down to that first score line, 4, and 6. We've done everything but the diagonal score lines. Okay? So we're done with the Simply Scored, but go ahead and keep your stylus out. Then I'm going to bring in the Stampin' Pierce mat. And what we're going to do is where we did those little short score lines, kind of look at these as your marking points here, where we are going to score on the diagonal from, well, this will be a better example here, but from the cut line here down to the next cut line over. And that's where we're going to put our diagonal score lines. All right, so what I'm going to basically do is line up, so all the way from the edge of this paper where it meets this horizontal score line, I'm going to line up my ruler and score, okay? And I'm just going to do those all down in the same direction, and then I will rotate and go the other direction, okay? Super easy. All right, so from that score line on the diagonal here, and I'm just, because we're using the Stampin' Pierce mat, I'm just going to go over that a few times. Okay, and then I'm going to move down to that next short score line. I know you guys cannot see these. I'll bring back the template in a moment. Okay, move down to that next short score line. And then this last short score line. And this one, you're only going down to where we did that long 8-inch score line, okay? You're not going all the way to the edge of the paper here. You're going to this 8-inch score line, all right? Now we'll repeat the same thing on the other side. And there we go. Okay, now typically I would tell you at this point to fold and burnish, but what I want you to do is to do the cutting first. It's going to make the folding and burnishing much easier. So the first thing we're going to do is to cut away these corner rectangles, okay? And I'm also just going to notch in to this long thin section here because that's going to be the tab that we'll use to adhere the two sides of the box. I'm just kind of notching those in a little bit. Actually, it's going to be easier for me to see it from the back side. All right, so we cut those two pieces out. Now I've got this little 1/2 inch tab along the side. Next, we're going to cut up each of these short score lines, stopping at the horizontal line. Same thing on both the top and the bottom. All right, then all our cutting is done. So next what I'm going to do is first fold and burnish on these long score lines. So where our little tabs are here, I'm just going to go ahead and fold those back. I burnish with my bone folder. I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom tabs. Now that center score line that we did, we're actually going to fold the opposite way, and that's why I recommended that you score from the other side. It's just going to give a little bit of a nicer finish to that score line if you score from the opposite side, okay? So we did the top flaps and then that center section. Kind of like an accordion right now. All right, now we can fold and burnish on all of those diagonal score lines. And they're easy to do because we cut these flaps. So you'll see I can just go ahead and fold easily and burnish. I'm just going to do each crisscross. And then finally we'll just fold on that little tab, and all of our folding and burnishing is complete. Okay, so it's starting to come together. Now, because we don't have vertical score lines that go all the way down, we can't really do the trick where we fold from the left and fold from the right to glue this tab. So what we're going to just do is put some liquid glue along here, and I recommend liquid glue because on the seam you're going to have the paper kind of folded, you know, in different ways, and the liquid glue really holds on to that and gives it a little bit more flexibility. So I'm just going to put liquid glue along that tab. And then just bring the opposite side to overlap it. And taking my time here to line up all of these 3 kind of center score lines. And then just be patient and hold that into place till that's got a really good hold there. All right, and then we can just go ahead and kind of push that in. I don't know if you saw that, but it was popped out. And I just went ahead and pushed it in. Okay. So now, here is where our seam is along the back. And I'm going to consider that kind of the back side, although because this is faceted, it's not going to be directly on the back. Okay. So keeping that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and put together the bottom of this box. I'm going to flip it over. Here's the bottom. This is this is the back side here. This is where our seam is. So I'm going to treat this here as the back side. So we'll do the 2 sides, then the back side, and then the front we're going to glue down. And what I'm going to do is just put some liquid glue right along the edge of this tab and then the edge of this tab. So glue on the pattern side of the paper on this tab and glue on the back side of the paper on this tab right along the edge there, and that's just going to ensure that that will be glued down completely. I'm just gently pressing from this side, and then I'm going to just flip it over. This is an important step. Put the cap on your glue because sometimes when you use it to apply pressure, the glue wants to come out. And then we'll just press from the inside. Oh, I love this box. All right, so now this is going to be the top of our box, but I'm going to show you a really cool way to close it with magnets. I had the tab opening this way, and it's probably more natural for the recipient to open it this way. So that's how we're going to do this box. And I'm going to utilize a really cool bundle that I don't think everybody has noticed in the annual catalog, but I love it. It's the Tabs for Everything bundle. And it's got this really cool circle tab punch. And comes bundled with this amazing Tabs for Everything stamp set that just has so many amazing sentiments. And we're going to use this little scalloped circle and the word "for you." Now, I have stamped this ahead of time only because I heat embossed, but I stamped it in Versamark and then heat embossed it with silver embossing powder. Okay, so I kind of did that ahead of time. I'm going to go ahead and punch this out with the 3/4 inch circle punch. The 3/4 inch circle punch nests perfectly inside the circle tab punch. Just trying to get that centered there. We got that little guy. And then I'm going to punch out the circle tab from our silver foil paper to kind of go in line with this beautiful Year of Cheer specialty paper. Go ahead and punch that out. And here's what I love about the circle tab punch. You just simply fold it in half. You have this cute little circle tab. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue the sentiment down, but in this time, because we're going to adhere it to open this way, I want to glue the sentiment so that it's facing the recipient. Let's just put a little bit of liquid glue. You don't need much when you're gluing to our foil paper because it'll slide around quite a bit. And just glue that into place. It takes a little bit longer for the liquid glue to stick on our foil paper, but it's worth the wait. All right, so that tab is done. Now I'm going to bring out glue dots and some magnets here. These are 8mm by 1mm magnets, great for this project. I'm going to go ahead and separate those two magnets. We're going to hide a magnet sandwiched inside of this tab. So using my glue dots, I'm just going to pick up a glue dot and stick it to one side of that magnet and place that right in the center of the inside of the circle tab. I'm going to grab another one to place it on the top. I'm not going to sandwich this together quite yet, but I've got a glue dot sitting on that magnet ready. Then using the liquid glue, I'm going to apply glue to the tabs on both sides. And then we're just going to place that, kind of lift up this tab here and get it ready to go. Just make sure it's centered where I want it. And then I can go ahead and sandwich that down, sticking the magnet together and then holding that tab part in place, or whatever this part of the circle tab is called. Okay, and then just pressing on that tab to hide that magnet. So you can't even tell there's a magnet in there, okay? Now here is a trick. You could just adhere the other magnet to the top of this paper, but that's not that pretty, right? So here's a little trick, because obviously these are going to have positive and negative sides. So you want to go ahead and stick that magnet to, do you see that? I love that. All you have to do is kind of hold it close and let go, and it's going to go to the proper positive or negative side. But what we're going to do is stick a glue dot on top. I was so excited when I figured this out, because I'm like, how am I going to do this and make sure the magnet's in the right spot? Stick a glue dot right there on the top. Then lift up these tabs, put this underneath, this over top, and pick up that magnet. Ha! Okay? And we're going to take it a step further. Anyways, let's just make sure that works, right? That works. Love that. But let's just go ahead and hide that magnet on this side. So what I'm actually going to do is I cut two little pieces of the Year of Cheer specialty that measure 1 1/8 by 1 7/8, and I'm just going to glue that right to the inside of the tab. And because that side looks so pretty, I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. This is just an added step, totally not necessary. Then what I make sure to do is put glue all the way around to the edge and then all in the center so that that piece of paper can really cover that magnet. Just kind of slide that into place, but then making sure that I'm holding right down where that magnet is to make sure that that paper really sticks down around the magnet. And then you'll never know that there's magnets in there, but I literally been playing with it for a long time. I keep opening and closing the boxes. I love it. All right, so that's the one side. Go ahead and glue this to the other side so they look the same. All right. Yay, look at that. Love those magnets. Now let me show you how I made this triple loop bow. I found this huge fork that has a center section here. So 4 tines, but then 3 little sections. So let me see if I can explain this while I do it. I am just going with the ribbon on the roll. I'm just gonna have kind of a length of ribbon hanging off to the right side here. Doesn't need to be that long, to be honest, but so then I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap this around the fork to create 3 loops. And I'm just keeping my eye on how many loops are wrapped around this edge. Okay, so 3 loops here, 3 loops there, and then we'll have the 2 tails, right? So I'm just gonna cut this off the ribbon roll, just enough to give me some wiggle room here. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do is with this left loop, and you guys may do this slightly differently, I'm gonna go down through that center section of the fork, okay, around the front, and here I try to pay attention to make that ribbon kind of nice and flat as I pull it through, okay, so I pulled it down, behind, up and over, and then I'm just going to tie these 2 ends in a knot. I'm just going to pull this as tight as I can. Okay. So check out what this is going to look like on the other side. Oh, so cool. Okay. So then I'm just going to go ahead and slide this off. And then you're going to have this really pretty triple loop bow that was actually really easy to make. So I just separate the loops, kind of zhuzh it a little bit, okay? And then I will just kind of play with the ends and then give them a little bit of a trim. Now one last added touch to that bow, and this is again, not necessary, but you know we're kind of making this like a really nice gift with the magnets. I'm just gonna take a lighter gently to the ends of that ribbon so that they don't fray. Because you know the recipient's going to be playing with that magnet on the box. So I'm not actually touching the ribbon, but I'm putting it as close to it as possible, and that's just going to seal off the ends of that ribbon and prevent it from fraying. All right, there we go. Another tool to have in your craft drawer, right? A lighter. Okay, so now let's go ahead and stick this to the box. I like to use 3 glue dots, so I'll stick 1 behind the knot, and then 1 just on either side of the knot. And those 3 glue dots really prevent the bow from sliding around on you. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and put that kind of in the center as much as I can and press down, and I'll lift this open and press from the back side too. All right, and there we go, our faceted gift box. Oh, I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Let me show you a different version using some sneak peek paper. And I'm not gonna remember the name of this paper, but look at this beautiful paper, perfect for Valentine's Day. It's got some gold foil elements, so I use the gold foil on the circle tab, and then rich razzleberry and melon mambo for the For You, and then this beautiful rich razzleberry ribbon, which is in the annual catalog. But just imagine this box for so many different occasions. That's what I love about 3D projects. All you have to do is tweak the colors and the sentiment, and you can make it for any type of occasion. So there we go. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you. Have a wonderful and blessed day. Take care. Bye.